You're tired of feeling stuck in life, like you're running on a hamster wheel but getting nowhere? You're not alone. We've all been there at some point or another, wondering why we're not moving forward, why we're not achieving our goals, and why we're not living the lives we truly want. But here's the thing, it's not because you're not trying hard enough, or because you're not talented enough, or because you're not worthy enough. It's because you're stuck in patterns that hold you back, patterns that keep you from breaking free and living the life you deserve. Let's talk about the first pattern, comparison. Comparison is a sneaky one. We often compare ourselves to others, whether it's on social media, in our workplaces, or in our personal lives. And when we do, we always come up short. We feel inadequate, unhappy, and stuck. I want to share a personal story with you. I know someone who was a successful artist, but she was struggling to make ends meet. She felt like she was failing, like she was stuck in a rut. But then she started comparing herself to other artists who had more followers, more likes, and more success. And you know what? She felt even worse. She felt like she was never going to make it. But then something shifted for her. She realized that comparison was a losing game, that it was never going to bring her the happiness and fulfillment she was looking for. She started focusing on her own unique talents and abilities, and she began to create art that was truly meaningful to her. And you know what? Her art started to flourish. She started to attract the attention of galleries, collectors, and fans. She started to make a living doing what she loved. So what's the takeaway here? Comparison is a pattern that holds us back, but it's also a pattern that we can break free from. We can focus on our own unique strengths and talents, and we can create a life that's authentic and meaningful to us. But comparison is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about the next pattern, procrastination. We've all been there, putting things off until the last minute, stressing and anxious about deadlines and tasks. And you know what? It's not because we're not motivated enough, or because we're not disciplined enough. It's because we're not breaking down large tasks into smaller, manageable chunks. Think about it. When you're faced with a big task, it can feel overwhelming, like a mountain to climb. But what if I told you that you can break that mountain down into smaller hills? What if I told you that you can focus on one hill at a time, and that you can make progress one step at a time? I want to share a strategy with you that's helped many people overcome procrastination. It's called the Pomodoro technique. You work in focused 25-minute increments, followed by a 5-minute break. And then you work again, and again, and again. It's a simple but powerful way to break down large tasks into smaller, manageable chunks. So what's the takeaway here? Procrastination is a pattern that holds us back, but it's also a pattern that we can break free from. We can focus on making progress one step at a time, and we can create a life that's filled with purpose and meaning. But procrastination is just the next pattern on our list. Let's talk about the next one, negative self-talk. We've all been there, speaking to ourselves in a way that's critical and unkind. We put ourselves down, we criticize ourselves, and we feel like we're not good enough. And you know what? It's not because we're not talented enough, or because we're not worthy enough. It's because we're not speaking to ourselves in a way that's kind and compassionate. I want to share a common phrase with you that people often use, I'm not good enough. Or, I'm a failure. Or, I'm not worthy of love and respect. And you know what? These phrases are not only hurtful to ourselves, but they're also limiting. They hold us back from achieving our goals, from living our dreams, and from being the best version of ourselves. So what's the takeaway here? Negative self-talk is a pattern that holds us back, but it's also a pattern that we can break free from. We can speak to ourselves in a way that's kind and compassionate, and we can create a life that's filled with purpose and meaning. And speaking of purpose and meaning, that's exactly what we're going to explore next. You're now seeing the patterns that hold you back, but what if I told you there are 3 more patterns that keep people stuck in life? Stay tuned to find out. As we continue on this journey, I want to leave you with a challenge. Take a close look at your own life, and see if you can identify these patterns. See if you can notice when you're comparing yourself to others, when you're putting things off until the last minute, and when you're speaking to yourself in a way that's critical and unkind. And then, take action. Break free from these patterns, and start creating a life that's authentic and meaningful to you. Focus on your own unique strengths and talents, and start making progress one step at a time. Remember, you are capable of breaking free from these patterns. You are capable of creating a life that's filled with purpose and meaning. And you are capable of achieving your dreams. So, what are you waiting for? Take the first step today, and start creating the life you've always wanted. You're now seeing 5 patterns that keep you stuck in life, but what if I told you there's one more pattern that's hiding in plain sight? Let's dive into the next 3 patterns that keep us stuck, and I'll share a personal story that might resonate with you. The pattern of overthinking. Do you ever find yourself overanalyzing situations to the point where you're paralyzed with indecision? You might be thinking, but what if I make the wrong decision, or what if I'm not good enough? I know I have. When I was planning to launch my own business, I spent months overthinking every single detail. I was so caught up in trying to anticipate every possible outcome that I never took action. It wasn't until I spoke with a friend who had already launched a successful business that I realized I was overthinking. He told me, the only way to learn is to take the leap and see what happens. Those words of wisdom were exactly what I needed to hear. So, take it from me, overthinking is a pattern that keeps you stuck. It's time to break free from it. The pattern of people-pleasing. Have you ever found yourself putting others' needs before your own, sacrificing your own happiness and well-being in the process? It's a pattern that's all too common, and it's one that can lead to resentment and burnout. I know someone who's always been a people-pleaser. They'll say yes to every invitation, every request, and every expectation, even if it means sacrificing their own needs. But here's the thing, when you people-please, you're not doing anyone any favors, least of all yourself. You're depriving yourself of the opportunity to live a life that's authentic and meaningful. So, the next time someone asks you to do something that doesn't feel right, remember that it's okay to say no. In fact, it's essential to set healthy boundaries. Here's a strategy to get you started. When someone asks you to do something, take a moment to breathe, and then ask yourself, is this aligned with my values and goals? If the answer is no, politely decline and explain why. Trust me, it gets easier with practice. The pattern of fear of failure. We've all been there. We let fear hold us back from taking risks and pursuing our passions. But what if I told you that fear is not a reason to hold back, but rather a sign that you're on the right path? It's a signal that you're pushing past your comfort zone and into the unknown. The unknown can be scary, but it's also where the magic happens. I know someone who's always wanted to start a new business, but they've been too afraid to take the leap. They're convinced that they'll fail, that they're not good enough, or that they'll run out of money. But here's the thing, failure is not the end of the world. In fact, it's often a stepping stone to success. So, the next time fear creeps in, remember that it's normal, and it's okay to feel scared. But also remember that you're stronger than you think, and you have the power to take action. So, what's holding you back from pursuing your dreams? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of uncertainty? Whatever it is, know that you're not alone, and that you have the power to overcome it. You're now seeing 5 patterns that keep you stuck in life, but what if I told you there's one more pattern that's hiding in plain sight? Stay tuned to find. Here's the detailed 333-word script for the Breaking Free from the Patterns section. You're now aware of the patterns that keep you stuck in life. But being aware is just the first step. To break free, you need to recognize these patterns and take action. One way to do this is to become more mindful of your thoughts and behaviors. Take a few minutes each day to journal or reflect on your actions. Ask yourself, what am I doing that's holding me back, or what patterns am I following that aren't serving me? Let go of the patterns that no longer serve you. This can be a challenging but liberating process. I know someone who was stuck in a pattern of people-pleasing. She always put others' needs before her own, sacrificing her own happiness and well-being in the process. But one day, she realized that this pattern was holding her back from pursuing her dreams. She made a conscious decision to let go of this pattern and focus on her own needs. The result was a more fulfilling and purpose-driven life. Now, it's time to create new patterns that support your growth and success. This is where the magic happens. When you break free from limiting patterns, you create space for new, empowering ones to emerge. You start to see the world in a new light and make choices that align with your values and goals. A common realization people have when they break free from patterns is that they had the power to change all along. They just needed to become aware of the patterns holding them back. Breaking free from patterns is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, effort, and patience. But the rewards are well worth it. Remember, it's not about changing who you are, it's about changing the patterns that hold you back. You have the knowledge and tools to break free. Take the first step today and start creating the life you deserve. What's one pattern you're willing to break free from today? Share your story with me in the comments below.